So in 2018, we approached Inkhead Studios. They are our video production company that we've used for a variety of videos. And we said to them we wanted to tell this founding story in a way like no other. And we wanted to put a visual to it. You know, everybody's got their idea probably of what it looks like, sounds like, feels like. And so we wanted to do something really special for the sesquicentennial that would really help bring that visual to life. So we started working on the scripts and involved Norleen and Liz Rink in that, particularly Norleen, because we wanted it to be as close to the actual story and be sure that we were using materials and things that were written by Betty Locke and the other founders that were in the archives.
And it was wonderful because Inkhead Studios, their staff came into the archives and spent an afternoon with me, pulling out materials, and everything we kept looking at was just, it was fun to do and work with them. And they got so into the story, which was also just a pleasure to be able to find someone who would do that.
And then came the opportunity to do a national casting for the 4 women who would play the founders. And that we had probably close to 1,600 women who submitted reels for that. Happy to report that one of the founders is being played by a current collegian from the Alpha chapter.
I think what amazed me was as you look at these women who were playing Betty and Alice and Betty and Hannah, is how much they look like them. It was actually sort of scary sometimes. It took your breath away when you would look at them and then you look at the images, the few images we have of these 4 at that time, and to see how close they looked to them, it still gives me shivers.
Well, and the makeup people that were hired did such a great job. It was so cool before we started filming to sit there and watch them do Betty's hair. Like, they had a photo and they were trying to get as close to what her hair looked like. Makeup was minimal.
They didn't wear makeup.
They didn't wear makeup. And so we were trying to just do enough, you know, that they would look good on camera, but also still be as realistic to the time as possible.
One of those things that just amazed me was the fact of how close it was to the outfits that we knew that they had, again, from these very limited photos from them in their college days. That when you start to look at those, of course the images we have are black and white or sepia tone, is to see how closely they match. And there were times I was like looking at the costume and going, that's exactly the same picture. I mean, it just was amazing to see. And I think we got those from
a theater conservatory in California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Both for the women's costumes as well as the men. And it just gives you a feel of being back in that time period. Mm-hmm. And I will say too, interacting with the actors was amazing. When I would start to talk with them, they had done so much research about these 4 founders. So when I shared something about Hannah Fitch getting a patent, the young woman playing Hannah was like, I know, I read that.
Yeah.
So it was just amazing to see, and how much they got the story. I think that was the respect I saw them for this story that they were telling.
And you know, that's their job, obviously, but there was one moment, the scene where Betty is the only female in the classroom and she's surrounded by all the men. And Megan, who was playing Betty, came in and she was very overwhelmed almost immediately. She got a little teary and she grabbed my arm and she said, oh my gosh, she was the only woman in this classroom. I can't believe that she had to go through that. And you know, again, that was her job, but she didn't have to say that. And she had that real emotional experience, and she's never experienced that before. And so to play a character that had to go through that really was emotional for her. And I thought it was very genuine. It was very authentic at the time.
And I will never, ever forget the badges that are used in this film are actual badges. 2 of them are from the founders, Betty Tipton's badge as well as Hannah Fitch's badge. And the other 2 badges are from the same time period. And putting those badges on those 4 actors was just this most amazing thing, and especially for the young woman playing Betty Tipton, to put Betty Tipton's badge on her. We both got teary-eyed. I'm still getting teary-eyed about that reaction. But it just, and then to walk around across the grounds of DePauw and to think these badges are back home. They're where they came from. So they've been here once before, and here they are back again. So that was so much fun to work on. The crew itself was also for the story. It was just amazing because they were always asking, could they do this? Would it be appropriate at this time period to do that? And so it made my heart feel good.
I remember one of the questions they asked could the women wear gloves? Would they have worn gloves in that time period? So, Norlene said, well, yes, of course, they probably wouldn't have worn them inside. So you'd wait until it was an outside shot or something like that. So that's the detail. I think it goes back to what Norlene said. They really do have a respect for Theta's history, and they wanted to be sure that it was as accurate as it could be. So.